welcome to video 4 of our driver training tutorial series. Today we're going to look at Content Manager for Assetto Corsa and some of the steps that we've already done to work on implementing our own car model in Assetto Corsa. Alright, so this is the Content Manager program. It is not created by Assetto Corsa, it's created externally and is downloaded through Race Department. So if I open that up, you see there's a bunch of different tabs up here. There's a crazy amount of features and things that Content Manager can do, which I won't go through even half of them today. But definitely have a play around, see what it can do. It can do some pretty cool things. So in this Drive tab, we can actually, without even opening Assetto Corsa at all, we can start races. So if I click go, it's going to jump straight into Assetto Corsa for me, load up everything. Just a much easier way of doing it overall, really. So we can change a bunch of settings in here. For example, this restricted one's pretty cool. It's something that you can't really do in Assetto Corsa. So if the car model's perhaps just a little bit too quick for what you might expect, you can restrict it in that way very easily, or you could add ballast as well. So some pretty cool different controls you can do there. So you can choose your car and your track up here, and you just click go, and it'll start up straight away. You can also see the best lap times for different tracks, results. Then we'll jump into the setting one. So there's a huge amount of settings that you can do in here to do with some of the graphic settings, the sound, appearances of different things. There's a crazy amount of different controls and stuff you can do in here. A lot more than what's available in the Assetto Corsa main program. So I definitely recommend having a play around with that. There's also a bunch of different extensions that you can implement as well, just to improve the experience of Assetto Corsa as a whole, really. So I won't go through too many of these things now, but I recommend that you have a look and see what different options are available and which might be useful for you. Alright, so the main one I want to talk about today is this Content tab. So what this Content tab has is basically all of our cars that we have downloaded in Assetto Corsa. We can see and access their content and data files, which is going to be incredibly useful. So you can see here we have our power and torque graph, and now that's the one that University of Canterbury has implemented. If, for example, we didn't want to develop our fully owned car model, we could use their model and implement a different power graph. So we could apply the power in a different way. And we'll go through how some of that stuff's done now. So down the bottom here, you have a bunch of different options. So you can, instead of having to find the cars folder, you can just click on this Open Cars Folder button, and it'll open our University of Canterbury folder. As you can see there, that's quite a long path to find that otherwise, so it's pretty useful to jump straight into that. So you can look at different setups that you have for the car. You can adjust the setup completely in here without even accessing Assetto Corsa at all, which is pretty useful. There's different things in here. This showroom, just quickly open that up. Much nicer looking showroom if you want to get pictures for whatever reason. Good for putting in reports or stuff like that. And then this is the main one I want to look at. So this unpacked data. So if we open the folder tab, you'll see here we have, which lots of the cars in Assetto Corsa do, they've compressed their data files into this .ecd format, which was a bit of a pain because it is quite hard to access, but that's what this Content Manager for Assetto Corsa does easily for us. So if you look down here, we don't have any folder for data. So if I click on that, obviously it's not going to find anything I want to open that data file. So if I click here, unpack data, for developmental purposes only. So I think from memory I had to click some development button in the settings, but I click that unpack data, and you can see now we have a data folder with all our different data files in there. So everything that drives the car is in here. So if we open up one of these in either Notepad or WordPad, you can see, so this is for the aero, a bunch of information about the aero data, which, say, if you're talking to one of your aero engineers and they say, we have such and such coefficient of lift for the front wing, you could modify that potentially in here, as well as some of these other .lut files. So I found, so for example, this power .lut is where they get this power graph from. If we open that up in WordPad, you can see here for the different, I guess that's the RPM values, power ratings there. So yeah, you can have a play around with those. I haven't looked into too much of this stuff, so I'm not incredibly knowledgeable on all the different things. As you can see, there's quite a lot of data to go through. And this is potentially a project for someone to do in future years. And if we were implementing our own new racing car, this is definitely something that we would have to go through each one of these individually and work out what we wanted. All right, so that's the data file. That's how we would create our own car in Assetto Corsa. Another one that's interesting here is the FBX file. So that's kind of like the 3D model for the car. Now to open up this one, I found the best program is Blender. So that's this program here. Now this is similar if you've heard of 3ds Max. It's basically like an open source version of that. Now if we wanted to open it in Blender, for some reason the default 2000 the default FBX file we can't open. So I've had to use this Autodesk FBX converter for 2013. So if I open that in there, I can convert it from just this type of FBX folder to the specific 2013 version which Blender uses. If I press convert, you can just download this FBX converter online. That converts. Oh, it already exists. Yeah. So now we have this other folder in here, FBX 2013. So it looks exactly the same as the other one, but like I said, the Blender won't open the other version. If we go into Blender now, it's another incredibly detailed program which I don't know everything about, but if we go to import FBX, we can then go, I should have copied and pasted that before. Yep, so I've just copied and pasted the file path for where it was found. We can import that. Now, it looks like it's not there, but it is. If you look up on the tree up here, it's actually there. We can hide, just like you would in Creo or Onshape, hide these different things. It still looks like it's not there. That's just because it is incredibly small. So you can see here, this is the physical car model that the University of Canterbury have obviously created in whatever software package that they use, and then just have transferred it or converted it to an FBX file, which is what is read by Assetto Corsa. So we could theoretically adjust any of these things in this to perhaps easily change. You know, for example, if this model's too wide, we could move in the tires or stuff like that. Or we could just give us a clue when we are creating our own model of what we have to do. Yes, so I'll close that one. And yeah, that's everything I had for today. Hopefully, should give you a start into what different tools and equipment we can use and how to get started at least on creating a car in Assetto Corsa. All right, thanks. I'll see you in the next video.